Today, I want to share a story with you, a story of faith, endurance, and the unstoppable favor of God. A story that proves no matter how far you fall, God can still lift you higher than you ever imagined. This is the life of Joseph, the son of Jacob, a young man whose journey took him from a pit of betrayal to the throne of Egypt. Joseph was the beloved son of his father. He was given a beautiful coat of many colors, a symbol of affection that made his brothers burn with envy. But Joseph also carried dreams, visions from God that one day he would stand in a place of authority. When he shared these dreams, his brothers' jealousy grew into something darker. They conspired against him. They stripped him of his robe, threw him into a dry well, and sold him as a slave to passing traders. Imagine for a moment how Joseph felt in that pit. Alone, rejected, abandoned by his own flesh and blood. His dreams must have seemed shattered. His heart must have been broken. But even there, in the darkness, God was still with him. Joseph was taken to Egypt and sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. There, he worked faithfully, and God's favor rested on everything he did. Soon, Joseph was promoted to oversee Potiphar's entire household. But just as things were improving, another trial came. Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of a crime he did not commit. He was thrown into prison, betrayed again, this time by those he served loyally. Yet in that cold, dark cell, Joseph did not lose faith. He continued to honor God, using his gifts to interpret dreams for the prisoners. And in time, his gift would open a door no man could shut. One day, Pharaoh himself had troubling dreams, visions of 7 fat cows devoured by 7 lean cows, 7 heads of grain swallowed by 7 thin ones. None of Egypt's wise men could explain it. But the chief cupbearer, who had been in prison with Joseph, remembered the young Hebrew who could interpret dreams. Joseph was brought from the dungeon and stood before Pharaoh. He declared, "It is not in me, but God will give Pharaoh an answer." He explained the dreams. 7 years of abundance would be followed by 7 years of severe famine. Impressed by his wisdom, Pharaoh placed Joseph in command of all Egypt, second only to the throne itself. In a single day, Joseph went from prisoner to prince. Years later, when famine spread across the land, Joseph's brothers came to Egypt seeking food. They bowed before him, just as he had dreamed as a boy. They did not recognize the brother they had betrayed. Joseph had every reason for revenge, but he chose forgiveness. With tears, he revealed himself, saying, "Do not be afraid. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." In that moment, every pain, every betrayal, every loss found purpose. God had used it all to save many lives. This story teaches us that your past does not define your destiny. The pit is not your home. The prison is not the end. God's favor can lift you out of any circumstance. No matter what people have said about you, no matter who has turned their back on you, God is still working behind the scenes. He can take what was meant to harm you and use it to bless you beyond measure. So today, if you feel overlooked, forgotten, or betrayed, remember Joseph. Remember that God never abandoned him, and he will never abandon you. Keep your faith. Keep your integrity. Keep dreaming. Because in God's perfect time, you too will go from the pit to the palace. Amen.